Hello and welcome to episode 111 of the Mouse Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse. Down here is my co-host Miss Poppy, who's here for the beginning of the podcast today but is sleeping on the job. You just can't get the staff. I'm just going to move my chair because it's rustling. Oh, now it's on the radiator. It was rubbing on Poppy's basket and I will get into trouble for that. Now I think I've just knocked a hole in the bottom of the radiator. Never mind. Anyway, my hair is in fact wet yet again today, but I've put it up so that you don't have to look at my wet hair and I don't look quite so much like the sea hag. Today, I am trying the microphone for a second and last time. I spoke to Dave about it. Dave, my husband, is the sound engineer. Now I know what you're all thinking. But my mum had a phrase, cobbler's children have no shoes. And he found me a microphone, but he didn't really, well, to be fair, he wasn't here when it arrived, and I just got excited and started working with it. So he's taken the foamy, spongy thing off it, so the sound shouldn't be so woolly. Apparently that's there only if you're outside. I did not know this. I have zero experience with microphones, apart from when I'm doing readings at church, which I haven't done for a very long time, and there is a microphone on the thing, lectern, which I try and ignore because I have like microphone fear. So yeah. Anyway, if this doesn't work, if this doesn't suit everybody, then that's it. I'm done. Because it's driving me insane. Okay, back to knitting stuff. Last week, after I saw you, pretty average week. Weather was lovely, still a bit too hot in the sun, but a bit cooler. Up until Friday, and then on Saturday, which was cast on party day, suddenly it was autumn. It never got properly light all day. There was torrential rain. And, sorry, I'm just watching Lily. Lily's coming in. Lily got chased by the dog again yesterday. If you've been here a while, you'll know that earlier in the summer, we had a problem with the dog that lives next door. Not the big dog Ty, a little dog that lives next door that kept chasing Lily and Poppy in and coming into our garden, chasing them in and then following them into the garden. Well, yesterday Dave was hoovering out my car. This is a tangent. I'm sorry. Dave was hoovering out my car, and so he had the back gate open. And the dog came out and it chased Lily, not only into the garden, but into the house. So Lily spent all of yesterday in Dave's wardrobe, which is as far as she could possibly go from the garden. And she's obviously gone outside to do her morning constitutional. And it's very windy. It's not actually raining at the moment. She doesn't like rain at all. But yeah, she looks very nervous. My poor girl. She's an old lady. Dave was very, very angry. Very angry. He shouted at the man. Because he has asked them before. And, you know, in fairness, the back gate was open. That's on Dave's head. But he's asked them not to just let the dogs out. Because they don't let them out from a door into a garden. They let them out from a door onto the road that they then run around the house and into the garden so that people can't see them. There's cars, you know. This has become a ramble. I don't want you to think we're anti-dog. Dave's had dogs all his life. I've had dogs most of my life. The only reason we haven't got a dog at the moment is that when our last dog, Maisie, died 5 years ago, it broke my heart so badly I can't face having another dog yet. But yeah, so that was that tangent. Lily's fine. The gate is shut. She'll see it's shut. She's fine. Lily's elderly and quite plump, so she doesn't really need to be being chased anywhere by anyone. Oh, dry skin on my palm. I wonder where that's come from. If you're new here, it is usually like this. Tangents and distractions. I have what my mother called a butterfly mind. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, Saturday. Saturday was the cast-on party. I hosted the pre-party because the cast-on party proper starts at 10 o'clock in America, which is 5 o'clock in the evening here. So everybody gets overexcited, can't wait till 5 o'clock. So we have a pre-cast-on party. And I hosted it this time. It was meant to be from 11 till 1. I ducked out at 2:30 because I needed to have a nap. Everyone else stayed on until 5 when the actual party opened. By then, I'd had a nap and I'd woken up. I'd not been feeling great the end of last week. I think the week before had caught up with me. I needed more sleep. And what I should have done is just gone back to sleep and then waited. You know, when I woke up, just joined the party then. But what I did was I woke up and I was like, oh, it's 10 to 5. I've got to get on and, you know. So my laptop had been on since 11 o'clock in the morning, a bit before actually. And so I joined the party. In the meantime, the weather had got absolutely appalling. It was torrential rain, really thick, heavy cloud. My laptop was going flat, so I'd had to plug it in to charge. And it was really, really hot. So I wasn't having the best time, if I'm honest. Every time I tried to speak, I don't think people could hear me. Excuse me. They were just talking over the top of me. Then I kept freezing. Then I was causing an echo in everybody else's rooms. So eventually at 8 o'clock, I just gave up and I left. And I was a bit sad because I'd been waiting for the party for ages, but it was just like a perfect storm, no pun intended, of all the things that make my Zoom play up. Hang on, I've got to have a drink. Hang on a sec. Sorry, there was a tickle in my throat. Yeah, so I ended up leaving the cast-on party a lot earlier than I intended to. But I carried on. I cast on by myself at home. And then, because I was so tired, I just went to bed about 10 o'clock. And then I finished my cast-ons on Sunday. So I have cast on everything that I wanted to. There are 7 things. I know. Again, if you've been here a while, you'll know that I made a note. I actually wrote a list and counted them up for you. Let me see, where is it? Let me see. Sorry about the crinkly paper. I have 21 projects, not including blankets. There are 5 blankets. So 26 in total. 6 shawls, 7 tees, 1 sweater, 2 cardigans, 2 hats, and 4 pairs of mitts. That's not bad for me, actually. And of course, in a couple of weeks, the MCAL is starting. Don't ask me if I've chosen my colours. You know what I'm like. I'm leaving it until the day first clue comes out, and I'm going to watch the video and I'm going to see which colours I feel will fit with what's going on in that video. I think that's my best plan. So there will eventually be 27, assuming I haven't finished anything in the next 2 weeks. Oh, and that doesn't count the 2 pairs of socks that I also have on the needles. I don't count socks, really. the moment. So you're probably wondering what I've actually cast on, as we've been talking for 10 minutes and I haven't shown you any knitting yet. So I'm going to start. These aren't in any particular order. I was gifted a ball of yarn. You can't see it because it's in this bag. The yarn is from my friend Nikki, and it's King Cole Zigzag, and the colourway is Bumblebee. Now, Nikki sent me this to cheer me up because I wasn't very well a few weeks ago, and she didn't know, but I'd been eyeing this up for several weeks and thinking, I really love that colour, but I cannot fit any more commercial sock yarn in my drawer. So what could I do when the yarn arrived but cast it on? And I'm cast it on to try something that I've been wanting to try for a while. I'm knitting a sock tube. I'm going to use the entire ball of yarn. I don't know how long it's going to take me. That was a couple of hours yesterday evening. This little stitch marker that I've put on it was also a gift from Nikki a couple of years ago, so I thought it was fitting that it went on this yarn. I'm going to knit the whole tube. I've started off, I've got a 5-row cuff, and the plan is to make some long fingerless mitts. So probably about that length, maybe longer, maybe shorter, I don't know. I'm going to knit the whole tube and see where I am, because I think I can probably get a pair of fingerless mitts and a pair of socks out of it, even if they are just shorty socks with a heel and some rib. But I want to use the whole ball because it was a gift. That, I think, is the full run of colours. Really nice. It's going to have these bright yellow stripes. Oh. And it is a yellow that I like, that sort of golden yellow. I don't know how well this is coming out because, well, I say it every week, the light is awful. I did, however, I was pulling from the centre, you can see. There was this was all yarn bath, all of it. The contrast that I've put on for the cuff, and I'll put it on at the other end. I'm going to use it for the thumb, and possibly if I make socks as well for heels and toes, although I might choose a different colour just to switch it up a bit. This is Patterns Diploma Gold in shade 4136, which I don't know if you can see terribly well. It's kind of a denim-y blue. It's a little bit mild. Really nice, really, really soft. The zigzag is almost as soft as this, so they're going to be nice comfy gloves. While I think of it, I'm wearing a rocket tee. This is a rocket tee that I made a couple of years ago. I can't remember when. It might have been last spring. It was my 3rd one, I think. And I cannot remember any of the yarn apart from this pale green stripe. And that was from Amanda at Little Lycat. It was one of her Shakespeare colours. I can't remember which one. If she watches this, she will probably comment below and tell me which one. I don't think it was Montague. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Shakespeare one. I've just remembered. It's Mojito. Because I bought, at the same time, I bought Montague, which was a bright pink that I've used in a different rocket tee, and Mojito, which was the green. I remembered. Yay me. In this bag, I have something that I have not knit before. I'm going to put the lid on my water before I inevitably knock it over. This is a pattern for, and this is a bit confusing, it's called the Summer Tea, but it's knit in DK, which I don't really consider to be a summer weight yarn, but that's it. I'm sorry it's black and white. And that's the maker. It's by Millie's Knit Designs. I had some yarn for this already, and then I bought some more at the show. So I'm not going to go through the yarns because that means pulling everything out the bag. But I suppose I should really, shouldn't I? People need to know these things. Anyway, this is how much of it I've got done. This is one that I did on Sunday. It looks very small because I have it on a very short cable, because I had this one, which is a 16-inch, and this one, which is 1.5 meters. So that's what, about 5 feet of needle. That was just a bit too much to be magic looping on something. So I'm going to keep on with these. See if I can scrounge an in-between size needle from another project. And if all else fails, I will put it on the long one and then magic loop. But yeah, I'm going with this one for the minute. So this colour is called, no, it's not called, it's called Vapor. It's from Dina's Home of Crafts. And that's the colour that I'm using for the ribbings and the narrow stripe between the colours. Orangey colour. Please tell me I saved a thing. Here we go. Here we go again. Rummaging. There it is. It's alright, it's only human. Poppy's all on edge because she got chased as well. Hetero yarns. There isn't a colourway, but it is, as you can see, a beautiful, almost burnt orange. I love it. And then after these two, I will be adding in this colour, which is also by Dina's Home of Craft, and this is Harvest. So that will pick up the colours from the other two. There we go. Both these yarns are incredibly soft. My original plan for making it was to wear it over a dress. And I probably will still do that, but it's so soft. I think I'm going to end up wearing it next to my skin as well. My only dilemma is, as you will have possibly noticed from the photograph, it's quite cropped. And if I'm wearing a sweater like I am today with jeans, this one's a bit short for me to wear with jeans. I like them to come down a bit lower. I'm very conscious of my tummy, and I don't like, I know some people are fine with it, but I'm just not. I don't like, the roundness of my tummy hanging out underneath a sweater. But I'll see. When I get that far, I'll see. I'm sorry if that's a horrible noise with the microphone, but them's the breaks, people. Okay. We have here something that I've already cast on once, in a different pattern and pulled down. Oh, I don't think there's a picture on this. I don't think I printed the picture. Oh yes, I did. It's a little hard to see though, because I've once again printed in black and white. This is, hang on, let me just, this is the Summer Sorbet Tea, and it is by Leanne Burnitz. I have another one of these on the needles in sort of very sorbet colours, lime green and yellow fading to a blue. And I have a plan. My plan is to concentrate on sort of autumnal knits, then it'll be Advent, and then I'll concentrate on my Christmas things through Advent, and then come January I'll start looking at the spring and summer things again, because then I can have them ready for the season that I want to wear them in. rather than keep trying to knit things in the season that I want them for and then not having them ready. Okay, this is in my own yarn. This yarn was a batch of the Year of Yarn for July. There's not very much of it. Which was based on a poster for Wakanda Forever, I think. I'm helical knitting it because it is hand dyed. This batch didn't make it because I was a bit heavy handed, can you see, with the burgundy. So rather than being light speckles, there were splotches. So I really loved the colourway and I kept it for myself. I cast it on, held with some mohair to make a different sweater back at the beginning of August, and I had miscalculated. It was almost another 22 inches of positive ease situation. So I pulled it down, put it aside for this cast on party, knowing that I was going to do either this or the famous Sonnenstunden that I'm also repeatedly knitting at the moment. More about that later. So that's that one. There isn't very much to see. That's the one I cast on after I left the party on Saturday night, and I had to go back to it on Sunday morning because I was so tired. I just went to bed. So tired. 3 down, 4 to go. Are you still here? Now we come to something a little bit different, but not a lot different. Don't get too excited. In this yarn, which I blame Tracy from Wool and Wishes for, this is James Seabright, but I don't know if you're supposed to call it Whisper. I have heard other people call it Whisper. In shade number SH09, which is all these beautiful autumn colours that I love. I love all the colours, you know that. The bright ones, the muted ones. The only ones I'm not terribly keen on are the insipid ones, but everything else is usually referred to as my favourite colour. I will show you what I've got and see if you can guess what it is I'm knitting with it. I have got this much. Now you're probably looking and thinking that's either a cardigan or a V-neck sweater. It is a cardigan. Let me show you a little bit of something else. Does that look familiar? It should do. This is a Sonnenstunden cardigan. Yes, there is a cardigan as well. And oh boy, am I knitting it. First of all, I love the wool. The yarn is amazing. It is, I think, a mixture of wool and acrylic. It says somewhere on the label, which of course, oh look. It says on the label that I've very cunningly put in the bag so that I can see. Where are we? 80% acrylic, 20% wool. So it's going to be warm and cosy. It's very soft and it's a bit like a roving yarn. It's not plied. So I'm being a little bit gentle with it. But this is the cardigan. It's by Evie Knitwear. Same as the original. I am probably not going to bother with buttons and buttonholes. I don't think I've ever buttoned a cardigan up since I was 5. So I'm just not going to bother. I've got a little cardigan clip and I'm going to use that if I want it not to flap about. Otherwise, I'm just going to wear it as it is. This one I did cast on at the party. I think this was the second one I cast on. And I don't know if you can see, probably not. You see? Oh, a little bit there. It's a little bit hairy. There's lots of little mohairy bits poking out. Can't wait to wear it. I just hope it won't itch me. Shouldn't do, because it's mostly acrylic. And I chose this colour because I have t-shirts in this kind of olivey green, and I've got a pinky one like that colour. There's lots it will go with. However, I've also ordered some in a much brighter palette to make a top. This knits up as a DK, so you'll be relieved to know that it won't be another Sonnenstunden. It might be a Saltmarsh Cove instead, which I also have on the needles at the moment. So, yeah, there's more of the coming. Very, very bright though, for sort of chilly spring days, I was thinking. Okay. 4 down now. 2 up there. I don't know. I wanted all of these cast on, all of them, so I don't know. I'm also trying to finish my very first Sonnenstunden cast on, which is the blue one. I'm getting very close to, I've got about 2 inches to go before I can start the rib on the body. It's exciting. I'm getting close. So I think I'm going to continue to try and finish that before I dive too deeply into all of these things. Right. This is my first pair of mitts, and when you see the pattern, you'll see why I started printing things out in black and white. The colour cartridges were running out. These are the Pioneer gloves, and they are by Kelly McClure. There are 2 versions. I am knitting the longer version. The longer version has a much longer cuff, arm. I don't know, the word has escaped me. I've not got very much of this done. This I cast on Sunday morning. This microphone business is doing my head in because I keep forgetting where it is, and then I'm frightened I'm rustling or jiggling it. So, it looks teeny weeny, but it is, it's ribbed, so it stretches quite large. The yarn, this is kind of a palette that I am very much into at the moment, the oranges and the bright blues. The yarn I bought on a D-stash. This came from Ange at Yarn and Yarns. Yes, it did. It's the one that I'd seen last year and wouldn't allow myself to buy, and then I succumbed to it this year. It's from the Yarn Tree, and it's called 11th Interior, which I'm guessing is a Stranger Things reference, but I don't know. It's just beautiful yarn. Very, very soft. It's 75/25. Yeah, superwash merino and nylon. Very soft. So yeah, I haven't got very far with that. I have a hankering for all the fingerless gloves at the moment. And I would like to knit, probably won't until after Christmas, I would like to knit some mittens. I have a pair of colourwork mittens in my list of things I want to knit. So I might get round to them after Christmas. That reminds me, I need to thank a couple of people that I forgot to thank last week. Somebody sent me a pattern for some socks with bats on. I'm hoping to cast on when I finish the 2 pairs that I've got on the needles at the moment. And somebody else, more recently, rustling, sent me the pattern for these mitts, which I think may have not long come out. These are the spooky season mittens. I don't think I'm going to get them done this side of Christmas, but I will probably pass them on for next autumn stroke October. So thank you both, ladies, very much. I just forgot. I'm sorry. I feel bad that I didn't thank you properly on the podcast. Right, this is another pair of mitts. These ones were actually suggested to me last year. Last year I was doing... That's another thing I've got to say. There is no knit along this year. I'm sure you've noticed, bearing in mind it normally starts on the 1st of September. I just didn't have the energy for it. This is my 3rd year of podcasting, and we've had a knit along the last 2 years, and I feel really bad that we haven't got one this year. But I just didn't have the energy to for all the admin and everything that goes along with it. So I am very sorry. But there are many knit-alongs going on. Crazy Sock Lady is having a spooky mal. Don't think it even has to be socks. Alex from My Yarny Corner is doing a spooky feet mal. The girls from Wool and Wishes are doing hands and feet, I think. That goes on till the end of September, I believe. Kate from the Bakery Bears is doing a self-striping September make-along. It's a bit late to tell you about that since we're halfway through, but if you're quick, there's still time. So there are plenty of knit-alongs going on for you to join in with. I just couldn't manage it. Avalanche. Couldn't manage it this year. That was a card I put up yesterday falling down. Right, so back to what I was saying. Last year I was doing... I can't remember what I called it. I think it was the autumn or October mal. I can't remember. Anyway, I cast on a pair of mitts that I still haven't finished, but I am working on again, that were very, very intricately cabled. And I was having such trouble with them. I won't go into all the ins and outs, because if you saw the episode a year ago, you'd know. And if you didn't, you're probably not interested in hearing about it now. I sorted myself out anyway. But while I was struggling with it, one of the lovely people who watched the podcast suggested these. This is November Mist, which, as you can see, is a very nice cabled mitt. I think it's a free pattern as well. And it's by Wendy Gangong, I think. Ganong. Doesn't really give anything other than that. I'm pretty sure it was a free pattern. All the patterns I mentioned will be linked below. That's not true. All the patterns I'm knitting on will be linked below. Not everything I mentioned will be linked below, because that's confusing. This is linked below. I'm fairly certain it's a free pattern. So I've cast that one on. And I've cast it on, again, I haven't done very much. It was a Sunday morning cast on, but using this yarn, which is a lot brighter blue than that. Brighter than that even. It's a really beautiful bright blue, and I don't know why it won't behave itself. That's closer, but it's still not quite right. It's a neppy wool, which is not something I have one skein of that Peter and Lauren bought me to dye up for myself. That's the only other nepped wool I have. This one is from Blue Fern Yarns, and it's called Sky. And at the yarn show, it just caught my eye, and I have colour coordinated it with its bag. I like to do that sort of thing. Yarn Cozy, also colour coordinated. I haven't done very much at all. haven't even finished the ribbing, and I've got on it, I don't know if you can see that, oh, little witch's hat with a pumpkin. That was also from Nikki a couple of years ago. Oh, it's lovely to work with. It's so pretty, and I don't know, no, I just can't. It's a much brighter blue than it's showing up. Almost a turquoise, really. I love it. It's not my usual colour to go for, but it just caught my eye. It was hanging on the stand, and it was on the end nearest the bit where you walk through, and it just, as I say, it just caught my eye. And I was like, oh, I'd like that. So pretty. Whoop. So that's all the fingerless mitts. And there's only one more thing to show you. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is actually the first thing that I cast on, and therefore the thing that has the most work done on it, because I cast it on in the morning at the pre-party, and I had been waiting to cast this on since the very moment I laid eyes on the yarn. It is in this bag, which might give you a clue if you've been watching carefully. This is a bag from Diane at Utri Yarn Craft, and the yarn I'm using is Diane's yarn, and it is called Daisy Jones and the Six. And when I show it to you, I apologise if that was a really awful noise. Woo. I bet the microphone's picking up every little rustle and clank. I'm helical knitting this as well, so it's a little bit tricky to show you because there's various yarns attached. Let's find a good bit. Look at this. Oh. I just love every single stitch. I am knitting, surprise, surprise, another Sonnenstunden. I think it looks absolutely stunning in the moss stitch section, as well as in the stocking stitch. I just love it. I have decided to put a yarn with it for the ribbings, as you will notice there. That's not the same. This is Sphere, and it's a Soxier colourway. And I had a 50-gram skein of it, and I thought, I actually asked my friend Anne's opinion. It was just the two of us to begin with, and I said, look, I've got this yarn that I'm going to cast on, but I want to do contrasting ribbings. What do you think? And I showed her this one, and she said that's really nice, and a brown and a tealy colour, and this was the best one, typically because this was the only one that wasn't actually wound into a cake. So I just quickly wound it into a ball. I didn't mess with getting my winder out and everything. So I think it goes really nicely. And I just wanted to do that to give me the maximum amount of the main yarn possible. Because, as I said, I don't like short sweaters with jeans. And I will want to wear this with jeans. So I want to make sure that I've got plenty of length. That's the front neck. I just love it. It's so pretty. So this, of all the things that all the large things, this might well end up being finished first, because my fingers have been itching to cast it on. And now that I have cast it on, I've had to restrain myself from just knitting this and nothing else. which wouldn't have been a bad thing, I suppose. I can hear the judgy people judging. I can hear all the monogamous knitters going, yeah, why don't you try that once in a while? I have tried it for most of my life, actually. Until I started podcasting, I was entirely a monogamous knitter. I never knit on more than one thing at a time, ever. But when you have a podcast, if I just turned up every week and went, right, here's my jumper, and this week I have knit 4 inches of it, that'd be a pretty short and boring podcast, wouldn't it? So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I will admit that, what did we decide? 21 and 2 pairs of socks? Maybe a little bit more interest than is necessary, but that's where we are. I'm going to try and get it down. I'm going to try and be good. Try and get it down to a much more manageable and a position where I can finish things more quickly. Because my system works, okay? It does work. I don't have a chance to get bored with anything. But it does mean that things just don't get finished within a reasonable time. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try and work down the whips, and then next year not have so many things on the go at once. Yep, you heard it here first, and it probably won't come about. But at least I have voiced the thought. Poppy and I are going to go now. Are you even going to say hello? I know you can hear me. You moved your ear. She's very tired, apparently. There is nothing to chase outside. The dog chased her. It's windy and it's wet. Oh, and that's the other thing. I've had a bit of a morning because Dave set off to work this morning on his motorbike and got about 3/4 of the way there and it broke down. And he doesn't have his AA card. So I've spent some time this morning charging around the house, looking in various places to see if I can find his AA card, and failing. And I said to him, I'm sure if you just ring them up, they can find your account, with your details. But he'd had to walk to a payphone because where he'd broken down is, of course, in the middle of nowhere, and there was very poor reception. And so I could barely hear him. It was breaking up really badly. So he walked to this payphone to ring them and then couldn't remember what the registration of the bike that he's on was. I'd like to point out that he does have 3 motorcycles. So it's not unreasonable that he couldn't remember registration of the one that he was on. So then he had to walk back to the bike, back to the phone box. Then he got the bike and he wheeled it to the phone box, which is no easy feat. It's a big bike. Yeah, it's been quite a stressful morning for everybody. He has, of course, not made it to work yet. I doubt he's going to make it to work today. The AA are coming, it's 11:30 already. The AA are coming to recover him, but past experience tells me they will send a car recovery vehicle and you can't get a motorcycle on them. So then that one will go away and he'll have to wait another few hours till the motorcycle truck comes. Fingers crossed that in this instance that won't happen, but past experience tells me that is probably what's going to happen. So I'm going to have a very cold, quite wet, sweaty, grumpy husband later on. But yeah, I did offer to drive out to him in the car because yesterday I went out for a drive in my car. It's the first time in months, but I've been feeling quite a bit better. I'm going to touch some wood just in case I jinx myself. Sorry, I have wobbled you. And I've stopped passing out. I haven't passed out with my heart rate for a few weeks. So yeah, I went for a drive and I loved it. I've missed driving. I love driving. Clearly, that's why I was a driving instructor. Yeah, so I did offer to come and at least park there so that he could sit in the car out of the wind and rain. He says he's in a bus shelter and he's all right. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe when the truck turns up, it will be the right one and he'll be home and he can change and go back out to work in the car. But I'm not holding out much hope. Let's put it that way. I think today getting to work might be a write-off. But anyway, I'll update you all on that next time. Assuming there is a next time. If my head hasn't exploded because of the microphone and everybody moaning about it. So, we're going to go. I have a Zoom to get to. I have a craft room to tidy up. And I have a husband to commiserate with. So until I see you again, happy knitting. Everybody stay safe. The weather is a little bit wild here. And in many parts of the world, for various reasons, the weather or environment is a little bit wild at the moment. So yeah, just stay safe, enjoy your knitting, and I will see you later. Bye guys.